Alright, so man, what we got here? 15 most terrifying objects found in the deep sea. Now, I really don't be terrified of too much. But when it comes to that water, that's one of the biggest things that we got that we haven't researched. Like what, only a small percentage of the ocean been researched or whatever? I'm not playing with the water for. That's not. I mean, I stay by the beach. I'm not going deep off into it. I'm not riding on the Titanic boat all the way through it. I might go on a cruise ship later on in life, but that's enough of me. Let's get right into it.
Who knows what lurks in those crystal marine waters? I don't think anybody can dive in Bimini and not believe that these are man-made artifacts. You can imagine what might be waiting to be discovered below the surface. In fact, much remains to be learned from exploring the mysteries of the deep, since more than 80% of it remains unmapped, unobserved, and unexplored.
What I say? They haven't even got to touch the surface of the sea, of the ocean floor. What am I about to be out here fooling with something that I don't know nothing about?
Imagine that the lowest point on Earth, the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean, sits at a staggering 36,000 feet below sea level. What might you find? Ancient cities? Fleets of sunken ships? Underwater museums? Even ghosts? Oh, the terror. Here are the 15 most terrifying objects found in the deep sea. Number 15. Lake Neuchatel Shark Statue. Talk about terrifying. There's
Hey, why that look like the same shark from Nemo? Fish are friends, not food. Looking ass.
zero information about the actual shark statue that appears in the video. And trust me, we researched and we researched. But the location is Lake Neuchatel in the French-speaking part of Switzerland, a popular diving destination for European divers. It's unclear how or why the shark statue was located there, and this footage just makes that fact even more terrifying. But Switzerland is a very popular place to go diving, especially in the winter. With a surface of 84 square miles,
In the
Lake
winter.
Neuchatel is the largest lake located entirely in Switzerland, and the 59th largest lake in Europe. The Theo River enters at its southwestern end and
Hey, y'all diving? Y'all going water diving? What is it called? Snorkeling? Bruh, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. What's that one movie? Below something? 10 below? 100 feet below? Meters below? Something. I'm not doing it.
choose from it at its northeastern end. The northwestern shore is the most thickly settled, and the slopes are covered with vineyards. But whoever placed that sculpture at the bottom of the lake, are you the Swiss Banksy? Are you responsible for more terrifying art underwater elsewhere? Before we move on, if you don't smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell today, the clown, will appear under your bed tonight. Number 14, the Ghost Fleet of Truk Lagoon. South Pacific's Caroline Island harbors the Ghost Fleet of Truk Lagoon. In a surprise attack by American allies in World War II, approximately 250 Japanese aircrafts were destroyed and more than 50 ships sunk. An estimated 400 Japanese soldiers were killed in one ship alone, trapped in the cargo hold. Most of the fleet remains in exactly the same spot it was left, largely forgotten by the world until the late 1960s. Jacques Cousteau's 1969 film Lagoon of Lost Ships explored the wreck-littered lagoon, and many of the sunken ships were then still full of bodies. As wreck divers brought attention to the site, Japan began recovery efforts, and many bodies have been removed and returned to their homes for burial.
So that means some of these people just been missing this whole time? That's crazy.
Some wreck divers often wonder, do the anguished souls of the crew and passengers who perished haunt those who dared to explore the shipwreck's remains? If you dive wrecks long enough, you'll hear tales of divers who were left with the bone-chilling feelings of this sort.
Crushed by outside pressure. There could have been no survivors.
Some indicate there was merely an eerie mood cast over the wreck, while others have suggested that they saw something down there that they can't explain. Number 13. SS
Swam to the
Disselboom.
water.
The world-famous SS Thistlegorm was sunk in 1941 in the Gulf of Suez at the northern end of the Red Sea.
It became a world-class visitor
Like,
destination.
what can ship makers do to make sure none of these
with a cargo of
ships
supplies
ever
destined for the British
Titanic
Army
again?
based in Alexandria? Armored carriers, motorcycles, jeeps, trucks, airplane parts, rifles, radio equipment, and a plentiful supply of Wellington boots can all be seen during your dive. The Thistlegorm is heaven for wreck enthusiasts, but is also one of the most underrated fish dives in the area, attracting schooling barracuda and providing a hunting ground for giant tuna and snapper. Our excursions require an early
Hey, them
start.
fish right there
After
go
breakfast
crazy.
on board, you'll make 2 dives on the wreck. In the early 50s, Jacques Cousteau discovered it by using information from local fishermen. He raised several items from the wreck, including a motorcycle, the captain's safe, and the ship's bell. The February 1956 edition of the National Geographic clearly shows the ship's bell in place and Cousteau's divers in the ship's lantern room. Cousteau documented diving on the wreck in part of his book, The Living Sea. That guy could find anything. Number 12, Ocean Atlas. Artist, photographer, naturalist, and diver Jason DeCaires Taylor introduced his record-breaking public sculpture to the crystal Bohemian waters in 2014. Entitled Ocean Atlas, the installation encourages coral colonization and deters tourists from endangered reefs. Forged for sustainable pH-neutral materials designed to kickstart local coral growth, Ocean Atlas is a monumental public sculpture submerged 5 meters beneath the sea, and an environmental gesture intended to portray the positive potential of human interaction with the
I ain't gonna lie,
natural
that's
world.
hard.
Located off the west coast,
If I'm swimming somewhere and I see that,
18-foot tall,
it's no
60-ton
way.
statue is currently the largest
It's no
underwater
way.
statue in the world. The girl in the piece seems to struggle underneath a heavy burden, which is appropriate given that she was named after Atlas, the Greek god responsible for bearing the heavens on his shoulders.
Of the old Ocean Atlas, it's got quite a meaning to it.
As with the rest of Taylor's numerous underwater sculptures, this one was made from a special pH-neutral cement that will allow reef organisms to thrive on its surface. His statues allow new reefs to grow where none existed before, and draw tourists away from overworked diving hotspots. Maybe not terrifying, but with the world on his shoulders, that's a scary thought. Number 11, Atlit Yam. Talk about weird underworlds. Not far off the coast of the village of Atlit in the Mediterranean Sea, near Israel, lies the submerged ruins of the ancient Neolithic site of Atlit Yam. The prehistoric settlement, which dates back to the 7th millennium BC, has been so well preserved by the sandy seabed that a mysterious stone circle still stands as it was first erected, and dozens of human skeletons lay undisturbed in their graves. Today, Atlit Yam lies beneath 16 to 40 feet beneath sea level and covers an area of 40,000 square
Stop playing
meters.
with them
The
folks.
site was first discovered in 1984 by marine archaeologist Ehud Galilee, and since then, underwater excavations have unearthed numerous houses, stone-built water wells, a series of long unconnected walls, ritual installations, stone-paved areas, a megalithic structure, thousands of flora and fauna remains, dozens of human remains, and numerous artifacts made of stone, bone, wood, and flint. The site provides unprecedented insight into life in Neolithic times, when people had just discovered how to domesticate plants and animals. I bet there are ghosts there too.
Definitely.
Number 10.
You playing with
The
graves.
Sea of Galilee structure. A gigantic monument at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee, as well as several mysterious structures, including a gigantic stone wheel and a moon-shaped monument, were recently found in northern
What is
Israel.
all these?
The mysterious structures have left archaeologists around the world bewildered. Who built them, and what were they used for? It may be some of Israel's most mysterious structures. They're easy to miss from the roadside, but can clearly be seen from the skies or beneath the sea. The prehistoric stone monuments
Aliens.
of Gilgal Rephaim, Jethro Cairn, and the circular structure found in the Sea of the Galilee went unnoticed for centuries in the disputed regions of the Golan and the Galilee, but still archaeologists don't know who built them or why. Theories have gone wild and include ancient calendars, ceremonial structures, or sky burial sites in which dead bodies were placed on top of stone mounds to be picked apart by vultures. The possible age of the structures is even more enigmatic and may put the estimates anywhere between 3,000 and 12,000 years ago, making them older than the pyramids of Giza and Stonehenge in Great Britain. Maybe aliens are responsible. Just saying.
What I just said.
Number 9. Christ of the Abyss. You probably already are familiar with the picture of a Christ statue deep under the sea, and you're asking yourself where it can be found. The answer to that question is not as straightforward as you might think, as there exist more undersea statues of Christ named Christ of the Abyss scattered around the earth. The original Christ of the Abyss is immersed in the waters of San Frutuoso, not far from the worldwide renowned village of Portofino. Located more than 50 feet under the sea, the bronze statue was placed on the seabed on the 22nd of August, 1954, at the initiative of a legendary Italian diver who wanted to place a statue of Jesus following the death of his friend, which occurred during a dive a few years earlier in that spot. The statue was created by sculptor Guido Galletti.
You know, way I'm swimming and I see that and I'm just cool. I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere towards it. I'm not going near it. I'm going to the top.
That had been detached by an anchor. The Christ of the Abyss has become a tourist destination for scuba divers around the world, and we can see why. Number 8. Yonaguni Monument. In 1987, a local scuba diver instructor discovered something underwater that was far more interesting than the hammerhead sharks that swam there. Submerged stone structures lying just below the waters off Yonaguni Jima are actually the ruins of a Japanese Atlantis, an ancient city sunk by an earthquake about 2,000 years ago.
Hey, because where is this Atlantis
He discovered
everybody be
this
talking
while
about?
scouting out new spots to take his clients to when the underwater rock formation took his breath away.
The sort of folks who believe that the Sphinx was built by Atlanteans.
It was a gigantic cliff face cut into a series of immense geometric terraces with broad, flat, horizontal surfaces and sheer vertical stone risers. This is known as the Yonaguni Monument. Geologists believe that it's most likely natural. The sandstones that make up the Yonaguni Formation to contain numerous well-defined parallel bedding planes along which the layers easily separate. The rocks of this group are also crisscrossed by numerous sets of parallel, vertically oriented joints in the rock. These joints are natural, parallel fractures by which the rectangular formation seen in the area.
Hey, scuba divers got to be some of the most brave people in the world. Because there's no way that I'm about to be. I mean, y'all see the little fish I haven't seen. They ain't showed a shark on here yet. Yeah, because that try to make it seem like scuba diving is cool. No. We ain't going scuba diving. Become fish food.
Likely formed. Yonaguni lies in an earthquake-prone region, so maybe that's where the mystery lies. Number 7. MS Zenobia. The MS Zenobia left Malmo, Sweden on its maiden voyage for Syria in May 1980, loaded with tractor trailers and other cargo. Between Athens and Cyprus, the ship began to experience steering problems because too much ballast water had been pumped in. After pumping it out, the captain continued to Cyprus, meant to be the ship's second to last stop. As the list worsened, the captain decided to tow the ship out of the harbor to prevent it becoming an obstruction should it sink. 5 days after arriving, it went down in Larnaca Bay, taking all its cargo with it. Fortunately, there were no casualties in the disaster. Compared to the usual shipwreck, the whole drama was played out relatively slowly. Apart from the catastrophic failure of a state-of-the-art ferry, the mystery is that despite her intrinsic value and the $234 million cargo she carried, no investigation was ever carried out, and the owners never tried to collect the insurance. The wreck of the Zenobia is now considered to be one of the best dive sites in the world, and we couldn't agree more. Number 6. Musa, Mexico. That's right, an underwater museum in Cancun, a Mexican city
no.
on the Yucatan Peninsula.
I'm saying, I'm not,
the Caribbean
no.
Sea. The Cancun Underwater Art Museum, known as Musa, was conceived in 2008 as a way of preserving the marine life of the local area by drawing tourists away from nearby natural but fragile reefs of Mexico. Collaborating with British artist Jason DeCaires Taylor.
That's cool to say the environment and whatnot, but
400,000 visitors, which is a big accomplishment.
The statues provide a perfect home for coral as well as a protected environment for fish and other marine life, creating, over time, a living, breathing exhibition. Covering an area of over 1,300 square feet, the museum is divided into 2 distinct galleries several miles apart. To place
It's a
the
dog?
statues on the ocean floor, the team had a special lift made for the statues. Some were so heavy that they had to be lifted into the water using lift bags. The Museo Subaquático de Arte, or the Cancun Underwater Museum, welcomes nearly 750,000 tourists yearly. What a destination! Number 5. The San Jose Shipwreck. It was 1708 when the Spanish galleon San Jose erupted into flames off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia. The ship had been at battle with the...
Hey, the people who be driving the ships, after the ship goes down and they survive, do they get to drive another ship? Or is that the end of their career?
British since late afternoon, and by night, the 62-cannon galleon had disappeared into the Caribbean Sea. With it, sunk nearly 600 people and up to millions of dollars worth of gold, silver, and jewels. For centuries, the San Jose galleon lay lost on the ocean floor, but the mystery surrounding the ship began to unravel in 2015 when the Colombian government announced it had officially been found. Now, it's at the center of a custody dispute among parties all staking claim to the San Jose's riches. The Colombian government
Buried
hasn't
treasure.
revealed the exact location of the famed
All right,
galleon,
matey.
which is often called the Holy Grail of shipwrecks. In fact, the real-life treasure ship has long been the subject of fascination. Nobel Prize-winning author Gabriel Garcia Marquez wrote about it in Love in the Time of Cholera. The novel's main character, Florentino Ariza, planned to dive down and retrieve the San Jose's riches for his lifelong love. So romantic. Number 4. The plastic bag. An American explorer has found plastic waste on the seafloor while breaking the record for the deepest ever...
Stop putting trash in our ocean, man. I'm telling you, recycle if you can. It's killing our animals. If our animals die, we die. Just think about it.
5. Victor Vescovo descended nearly 7 miles to the deepest place in the ocean.
It was a great journey. Saw some really interesting things on the bottom.
The Pacific Ocean's Mariana Trench. He spent 4 hours exploring the bottom of the trench in a submersible built to withstand the immense pressure of the deep. He found sea creatures, but also found a plastic bag and sea wrappers. The Mariana Trench, the deepest point in the ocean, extends nearly 36,000 feet down in a remote part of the Pacific Ocean, but if you thought the trench could escape the global onslaught of plastic pollution, you'd be wrong. A recent study revealed that a plastic bag, like the kind given away at grocery stores, is now the deepest known piece of plastic trash. Other debris was prevalent, and plastic bags in particular made up the greatest source of plastic trash. Other debris came from material like rubber, metal, wood, and cloth. Most of the plastic, a whopping 89%, was the type of plastic that's used once and then thrown away, like a plastic water bottle or disposable utensil. Come on, people.
We gotta recycle, man.
Number 3. The Locomotive Graveyard. This graveyard was found by chance by Paul Hepler back in 1985, the famous New Jersey train graveyard. He was mapping the bottom of the ocean when he picked up on the 2 huge metal objects that turned out to be trains. Despite the murky water, experts examined the train.
Bro, how did a train get in the water, though? Like, it's some tracks that go over an ocean that I don't know about? Let me find out y'all got some Polar Express stuff going on. You know what I mean?
In the watery resting place, the locomotives turned out to be a rare Planet Class 222T models, a model that was only produced for a short time due to the unfortunate fact that they were obsolete almost as soon as they were produced.
You thought this thing was pretty old, possibly even 100 years or so.
They were small locomotives, weighing about 15 tons, and self-contained. What remains a mystery, however, is how the 2 steam engines came to be sunk. Experts believe that the locomotives were being transported from Boston to the mid-Atlantic on a barge when they encountered a storm 5 miles off the coast of Long Branch. In that storm, the engines either fell off the barge accidentally or were deliberately pushed off to lighten the load and prevent the ship from going down in the rough seas. In spite of that, they seem to be remarkably well preserved. What a find! Number 2. The Antikythera mechanism. 115 years
The
ago,
what?
an archaeologist was sifting through objects found in the wreck of a 2,000-year-old vessel off a Greek island. Beautiful vases and pots, jewelry, a bronze statue of an ancient philosopher, and the most peculiar thing, a series of brass gears and dials mounted in a case the size of a mantel clock. Archaeologists dubbed the instrument the Antikythera mechanism. In 1959, after a careful study of the gears, it was determined that the mechanism was used to predict the position of the planets and stars in the sky, depending on the calendar month. It also tracked the seasons and ancient festivals like the Olympics. The calendar is based on the time from one moon to the next, and a special dial allowed the user to also.
Bro, who
visualize
created
seasons,
this back
which
in the
would have
day?
been useful for
How did they
agriculture.
know?
Since the ancient Babylonians figured out the cycle of eclipses,
That'd be crazy to
the
me.
inventor of the Antikythera mechanism included two dials that rotate to show both lunar and solar eclipses. But the most sophisticated thing the mechanism did was lunar
The
calculations.
Antikythera.
It could figure out the moon's period at a given time and model its elliptical orbit. Number 1. The Baltic Sea Anomaly. In the annals of unexplained mysteries, the Baltic Sea Anomaly is one of the most bizarre deep-sea finds of the past decade. The discovery occurred in 2011 when the deep-sea exploration team called Ocean X came across an unusual formation 300 feet below the surface off the coast of Sweden. They quickly picked up on the anomaly due to its circular shape and distinctively straight protrusions. Adding to the mystery was what appeared to be an extensive trail, what some speculated could be evidence that a crash landing may have taken place.
What exactly that object might be.
But a Stockholm University geologist studied a few rocks that divers picked up from the site, and there wasn't a single alien life form among them. Instead, there were mostly regular stones that everyone would expect from the kind of glacial basin the Baltic Sea fills. But most experts agree that the structure is probably nothing close to man-made. No doubt, the site has intrigued conspiracy hunters since it was discovered, with inexplicable technical problems plaguing anyone who tries to investigate. The object could be at least 140,000 years old. Scary old. That
Yeah, that's very scary because we wasn't even making stuff back then. You see how we went from carriages to cars? That was just a few hundred years ago. Stay woke.
was 15 of the most terrifying objects found in the...
All right, man. So that's another video. Let me know how y'all felt about that. Y'all still rock with the ocean, the sea, whatever you want to call it. Would you go scuba diving? Like, comment, subscribe, and we out.